problem.
Hey everybody, how's it going? Here at Third Root, but we're just gonna wait a minute to make sure this is going. You know the deal. Just gonna wait for the first person to pop on. Building an audience, so that's not happening yet. So we'll see. Yeah. Wait a couple more seconds, and then we'll just do it over again. Just waiting. Oh, there we go. Awesome. Cool. Great. So you guys, welcome back to Hive Live. I didn't even think I was going to be here today. I had caught a cold yesterday at the march, giving out so much love and positive energy. But I was so psyched to be able to spontaneously be able to meet Regina here today at Third Root Health Center in Brooklyn, New York. So really excited. You want to say hi?
Hi.
Third Root is this incredible health center. I don't know if you could give a little background on it.
It was started by Jacoby Ballard in 2008, I believe, offering sliding scale, acupuncture, herbal consultations, and massage.
Cool.
And also yoga. And we teach, there's classes here 7 days a week, and there's community acupuncture, sliding scale, plus tons of workshops, and definitely a place that strives to make people in the neighborhood feel welcome. I would say it's a social justice oriented health center, and open to queer, gay, trans community, people of color, all are welcome here.
It's awesome. It's so great. Well, I've been really excited. It's the first time I've been here. As folks up in Portland know, we had Justice in the Body for a couple of years, and Justice in the Body was definitely inspired and influenced partially by what Third Root has been doing. So thank you for all the good work. Part of the reason why I'm here is because I found out that Regina teaches a queer and trans yoga class tonight, so I'm looking forward to going to that afterwards. We're really excited to have you on because you teach what looks like a diversity of different yoga classes with, sort of different populations and different things. And you're also an Ayurvedic practitioner.
Yes.
So before we get into all that, could you just first of all, thank you for being on.
No problem.
It's really awesome to have you here. Can you just tell me a little bit about who you are before we go into the content of what you practice?
Yeah, I've been in New York since 2004. I come from a dance background. I started dancing when I was 3.
Oh, wow.
I have a BFA and an MFA in dance. And around 2009, I started, eczema that I had as a teenager came back with a vengeance. It was also my Saturn's return at that time. And I immediately just started going towards a more holistic path.
So you had eczema earlier?
Yes, as a teen.
And then it came back?
Yeah.
2009?
Yes.
And then you were like, okay, so how do I work with this?
Well, I happened to be at this meeting, and someone attending the meeting had this book by a doctor who practices in Soho, and it's called Absolute Beauty. And he said, oh yeah, you can look through the book. And I ended up looking through the entire book. I immediately wanted to know more. I had to learn all about Ayurveda. I'd heard of it, but I knew nothing about it.
Oh,
I
cool.
got the book, I read it cover to cover, and that was the impetus to follow this path. I started studying Ayurveda on my own, and then finally, around 2011, I started thinking, I want to get certified in this. I want to go to school for this.
Oh, wow.
So in 2013, I joined Kripalu's Ayurvedic Health Counselor 650-hour certification program. Completed that in 2014, and about a month after graduation, went back to Kripalu and got my 200-hour yoga teacher training certification.
Nice.
So my official title is Ayurvedic Health Counselor and 200-hour registered yoga teacher.
Nice. And Ayurveda was 650 hour?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
It was a 9-month program.
Oh, lovely.
Yes,
that's awesome. So you had the eczema come back. What do you think it was when you opened that book? Like when you were flipping through that book that all of a sudden you read it cover to cover, For people who don't know about anything about Ayurveda, like what was one of the things that really resonated with you?
I think immediately the message was you can change things about what you eat and what you do to heal yourself. And you actually don't need a pill or 2 or 3 or 4. And I was thinking, oh yeah, duh, like I had never even thought of this. I can change my diet to clear up my skin and not have to I was reaching for every product out there.
Like just sort of like at the drugstore?
Yeah. I don't even remember going to a Western doctor first.
Okay.
Ayurveda came first. I did end up going to see a dermatologist and she gave me a cream, but at that point I was already well on my way with an Ayurvedic protocol with herbs and food to reduce the eczema. And then the first day of Ayurvedic training, they told us, you all have been here before. This is not your first time in this lifetime to be practicing this. And you asking me that question, I also am thinking immediately like, oh, I think maybe it resonated with me because I have had previous lifetimes doing this work.
Oh, wow.
And it makes total sense. My drive to learn more, how into the studying, we would start at 6 a.m. and go till 9 p.m.
And you were
and I loved it.
Yeah.
And I think, it just spoke to me immediately.
Yeah, I bet you a lot of folks out there who are yoga teachers or healing practitioners, there is, for so many of us, there is that sense of like, we know this in our bones. Mm-hmm. This sort of way of being, this way of thinking, this way of thinking about healing. And so there's some of it that you learn by the study and the practice, and then there's just some of it you so deeply know that comes from another time and place or something.
Yes.
So I really appreciate you speaking to that.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So that's great. So originally, the first thing was that you said though was that Ayurveda, you read this book, and it was just about like you can change your diet, and it potentially can clean up your what's going on with your skin. Mm-hmm. And you were like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because a lot of people know that.
Well, actually, based on the workshops I've taught, not a lot of people know that, or do not want to change certain things. Okay. I mean, I've had clients with acne, psoriasis, rashes that just come out of nowhere. Mm-hmm. And when I say reduce the amount of coffee you drink, reduce the amount of alcohol, they're not willing to go there. So it's not for everyone. Yeah. But I felt like it was so easy. I was thinking rather than continuing to pay to see doctors and having to do follow-up appointments, I could go out and buy some really good food, and maybe that organic food might be expensive, but I'm not having to go back to the dermatologist. And I haven't been back since probably 2010.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Is it pretty much...
Yeah, the thing that kind of nipped it in the bud completely was now I'm down to a very small amount of black tea as a source of caffeine. So I think it was the caffeine. Getting rid of coffee helped, but caffeine kind of cleared reducing the amount of caffeine.
That's amazing. Really, so you literally changed the trajectory of your health, your overall well-being, your choices, your relationship to your body probably.
All of it.
Yeah.
I changed, it was kind of like the universe wanted me to take this path and they had to figure out how to get me to go there. So I think the eczema led me to something that maybe would have taken longer. So that was like the fast track path.
Right, because you had to deal with it.
Yeah.
You can't get out of eczema.
I mean, if it were maybe a little patch on my elbow, I would have been fine. But I mean, it was like spreading to my face and neck. I was done.
Yeah. So since then, it's really shifted your journey.
Yes.
You went to Kripalu, you studied Ayurveda, then you studied yoga.
Yeah.
And now you do this as your work.
Yes.
It's amazing. So you teach. Tell us a little bit about what you teach.
I teach right now. I'm teaching queer and trans yoga. That's on Sundays today.
Awesome.
And open level yoga.
Yeah.
Kripalu's based in traditional hatha yoga, so I just tell people the opposite of vinyasa. We hold the postures. I encourage it's very much a time to notice the thoughts that come into your head. Notice how you feel. Try not to judge. Breathe. Stay in the moment. Move on to the next asana. So I don't teach a class where we hold postures. It's not like yin yoga where we're holding for a minute, 2 minutes, but the style of teaching I like to teach, we hold the postures, we stay in the posture for a while, and I encourage people to get out of their head, get out of the monkey mind, and come into the present moment.
Very nice. So important these days.
Yeah.
Such a beautiful invitation.
Yeah.
I like how you kind of hit that middle ground. It's not like too long, but it's also long enough. So you can drop in, you can find your breath, you can find your body. Everything slows down.
Yeah.
That's such a great invitation. I love those type of yoga
Yeah,
classes.
me too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Cool. Anything else you want to say about teaching? I mean, I want to get into some of the Ayurvedic teaching first, then maybe we'll go back to yoga. Yeah, cool. So, maybe one of the first questions I want to ask, because I don't know a lot about Ayurveda, so I'm a good person to actually be here talking to you in the sense of what a lot of people that maybe don't also know. Would you say like one or two of the fundamental teachings are? I mean, that's a ridiculous question given that I know Ayurveda is thousands of years old. It comes out of an Indian tradition.
Yes. So you know a lot.
I try to listen. And there's like 3 different types of something.
Yes.
That's what I know.
That's pretty good.
Yeah? Alright, good. I'm gonna find my water.
So yeah, actually Ayurveda and yoga go together. They're sister sciences. They're practiced together.
Oh, cool.
It does. Its origins are from India. The language in which the Vedas, the knowledge of Ayurveda is written in Sanskrit. And yoga is to prepare the body to meditate and also to join mind, body, soul, spirit, and senses. Ayurveda is the food you eat, the rituals, daily rituals, seasonal rituals. They all go hand in hand.
I didn't know that Ayurveda and yoga were just like this.
I found that yoga teacher trainings more and more are implementing Ayurveda into the training. I actually taught Ayurveda at a yoga teacher training during the summer in Bushwick, and that was a lot of fun. It was a whole day of passing on the knowledge. And I've even taken classes where teachers talk a little bit about Ayurveda. I was in Philly taking a class, and it was during the summer, and the instructor talked about, we're in Pitta season, it's hot. She gave us some tips for cooling down and was like right on, totally knew about Ayurveda and everything. So it was interesting I love taking class and hearing what people have to say about Ayurveda.
I bet.
And the 3 different things that you're talking about, those are the doshas, Vata, Pitta, Kapha. And those are ether, air, fire, water, earth, divided into 3 different categories. And a person can have them dominating in the body, but our seasons are also Vata, Pitta, Kapha. So we're in Vata season right now.
Okay.
Yes.
So is it a person's body type?
Body type and personality. There's a combo.
Okay.
Like, I can tell you got a Kapha Pitta thing going on.
Kapha Pitta. Okay, yeah. Cool. So what's one thing that you know about Kapha Pitta people?
Well, Pittas, personality-wise, driven, very detail-oriented. They can complete tasks. They make great leaders. They're...
is that fire?
Yeah. Fire and water.
Fire and water, cool.
At their shadow, I don't want to say at their worst, their shadow is quick to anger, jealousy, possessiveness, rage.
Okay.
That's kind of Pitta at its worst. But at its best, I think the great thing about Pitta is a really strong Pitta, it can lead people. They can hold space for people. They're very professional. Like I said, they also can get things done. They don't leave a lot of tasks unfinished.
Okay.
And Kapha, those, Dr. Vasant Lad calls them big, beautiful, abundant Kapha. And they're a sturdier group of people, high immunity. They have very strong immunity, don't get sick too often. They are more grounded. They don't anger as easily. They also can tend to hoard and cling. Maybe the shadow side of Kapha. if someone breaks up with them, they might take a little longer to get over it.
Okay. Okay. Got it. That's a good way to know.
And they probably still like their 5th grade boyfriend. They had the Valentine from
there's
their
lingering.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's cute. So like that's so interesting, right? So there's these qualities that are very particular. That there's these 3 doshas, and each person has probably some of all of them, but then one's more
all
dominant.
have them.
Yeah. Right. So then like so you're like, okay, I'm whatever you said, Vada Pitta or something. And so then what do you, as an Ayurvedic practitioner, so then what happens? You sort of help you sort of see what somebody is, and then what happens next? As a practitioner.
Say they don't have any health issues that are of immediate concern. I would just tell them foods to favor, foods to avoid.
Oh, cool, okay.
And along with the seasons.
Yeah.
Definitely eating seasonally. And once you know about Vata or Pitta and Kapha, notice what gets you out of balance.
Okay.
How to eat according to your dosha, certain times of day when there's even a Kapha time of day.
Oh, interesting.
It's mid-morning, right before, like between 7 a.m. and 10 a.m. I use it to my advantage when I can tell someone's a strong Pitta, how to deal with them. When I can tell someone has a lot of Vata, how to deal with them.
Right. So it helps you relate.
Yes. Oh, definitely.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Huh. What's like a good book out there? Like, is there like a nice? I mean, I'm sure there's many, but
there are many. I would say Absolute Beauty is great.
Okay.
Also, anything by Dr. Vasant Lad.
Okay.
And a lot of people I know, their first introduction to Ayurveda is a book called The 3-Season Diet. And it takes Ayurveda and puts it in very simple terms.
Nice.
And the doctor who wrote the book is all about seasonal eating. He's someone who is, every kind of taste should be on your plate. But during the winter, you need to favor these things. During the summer, you need to favor these other things. I've read so many. Pick up any book.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
A lot of them cater to Westerners. So they don't get too heavy into the Sanskrit and the history.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the philosophies within Ayurveda are super advanced, and I don't ever teach them in workshops.
Yeah.
So a lot of the books out there are going to keep it very simple.
Yeah. Well, it's okay. So that's really interesting. So I have 2 questions for you. Let me go to just speak to that one. So what's it like? How does it feel to study something that is from another culture, right? That is from a lineage. I don't know if is it from everybody's lineage? Is it from an Indian lineage? Like, I've asked this to a whole bunch of practitioners because we're just sort of exploring like how to hold a lineage in regard and thoughtfulness and with respect. And so, what, like, can you talk a little bit about that process? Sort of mentioning it.
Well, Kerala in southern India is thought to be the birthplace of Ayurveda. There's a lot of Ayurvedic health centers in Kerala, but at this point you can find it all over India. One of the biggest things that stood out to me while studying was I realized how little I knew about South Asian culture, how very little I knew, just how to pronounce things. There's a lot of Hindi and Sanskrit that I was totally brutalizing. And 90% of the doctors who taught at my program are Indian, from India, got their master's and Ayurvedic doctorate certification from there. So that I really appreciated.
Sure,
completely. And when I teach, I have some colleagues, people who I studied with, they don't use as much Sanskrit when they teach, but I definitely tell people how to pronounce things. I'm a stickler for certain things. I make sure people are pronouncing it correctly.
Why do you think that's important?
Oh, I feel like yoga, for example, in this country has become so watered down and just a way to make money. Like, capitalism definitely has its hand in yoga.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's a great deal of really offensive cultural appropriation happening with yoga. And I'm very protective that Ayurveda doesn't go that same route.
Yeah.
I understand taking a lot of the Sanskrit out so people can understand things, but at the same time, when I see turmeric milk, golden milk, or khichdi being sold for crazy prices. I saw khichdi at a restaurant recently, and I don't even know how much they were charging, but I was thinking, someone's grandmother makes this like every day.
Yeah, right.
And the golden milk, the turmeric milk, being charged $6 or $7 for it, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So, when I teach, I definitely make a little small speech about cultural appropriation and understand where this comes from.
Yeah.
I also tell people what the purpose of yoga. I have a big problem with it being touted as a workout.
Yeah.
That really annoys me. So I let people know actually why you're practicing.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay, but I also let them know if this is a workout for you, that's fine. But know where it comes from,
right?
For sure.
Yeah.
And honor that.
Yeah. Nice. Awesome. Cool. Thank you for talking about that a little bit.
Yeah.
I think it's really exciting to be having more conversations about capitalism and lineage and practices that maybe don't come from our own cultures and how to be in good relationship with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, great. The other thing you said I wanted to follow up on was you were talking a little bit about people. Part of what Ayurveda does is it asks people where do you notice you get out of balance.
Mm-hmm.
I think you said something like that. I love that question. Right, we could all be asking that question. Like, hey, we go through a day. Where do we get sort of hung up? Where do we get out of balance? Question I want to ask you is. And again, if it's an interesting question to you, a lot of people are way out of balance because life is pretty out of balance right now on the planet.
Yeah.
People gotta hustle, and there's a lot of out of balanceness for a lot of reasons. And given that, right, can Ayurveda help somebody who's, I think about my friends who are single moms and have a lot of money, like. Not all of them, but some of them, there becomes less and less accessible, some of these,
Mm-hmm.
Some of these modalities and some of these ways of being. And I think about, what are some ways that people who can come see an Ayurvedic practitioner or, maybe not, what's some of the wisdom, can it support folks who, I don't know, do you have to kind of go all into it?
Mm-hmm.
Or can it be taught, can you go to a workshop or read a book and apply some of the principles?
I am a big fan of going all in.
Yeah,
but
okay.
I totally understand and acknowledge that not everyone can do that for many different reasons.
Right.
When that is the case, I encourage people to find one thing that they can do daily.
Nice.
One of the easiest things, and it's part of a bigger morning ritual, is to drink warm water first thing in the morning, before coffee, before tea, before anything. Warm water. It gets your digestion going. It helps get your adrenals and kidneys ready to work for the day. It's a great thing that you can do for yourself. If that's all you can do is take time for morning warm water without looking at your phone, without being on Instagram, Facebook, social media, just have time for warm water, just do that.
First thing, warm water.
Yes, first thing in the morning.
Big glass.
Or just a mug.
Just a mug.
And I've had a few people, a friend of mine said, you know what, I actually weaned myself off of a latte first thing in the morning by going for the warm water first.
Nice.
And a friend of mine, someone I studied in the program with, had recommended it to a client, and that guy actually quit drinking soda and replaced it with warm water. And symptoms from diabetes completely went away, and he also happened to lose 15 pounds. It was crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Water versus soda.
Soda.
Yeah.
Warm water.
Warm water. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And that's another way of me sneaking in some sort of practice, spiritual, mindful practice. I think if you can't change your diet, going to restaurants is just better for your lifestyle, and you can't alter and eat more organic. Find some sort of way to have at least 3 minutes, even a minute of meditation or mindful practice. And if you are going to eat food that maybe isn't so healthy, at least try not to be on the phone or computer while you're eating.
Okay. Nice.
Surround yourself with good people.
Yeah.
And nice environment while you eat. And then drink your warm water. And that's your practice.
Nice. Beautiful. So I like that. I just talked with Rucia the other day, and I felt like she was kind of saying the same thing. Life's crazy, pick a practice and stay with it. And she talked about mantras, really find a mantra that if she said if it doesn't energize you, like drop it. Like you
Yeah.
gotta have one. You get up, you use it every day, you know. And so like for you, Ayurveda would talk a little bit more about food, warm water, maybe some herbal stuff.
Yeah. We were trained to. We were trained to learn about the herbs, but there's a lot of contraindications, and
Okay.
people are on prescription drugs. We didn't go that far in depth.
Yeah.
So I don't prescribe herbs too much to people. I have
Okay.
to know a lot more about their health history. That's what I stick to. Also, I think in Western culture, people expect some instant results.
Yeah.
And I think warm water and saying mantras sounds like it's not going to do anything.
Yeah.
But I have personally found that it actually can make the biggest difference.
That's amazing. All right,
For sure.
warm water and mantras, you guys. That's like start with that.
Yes.
Yeah, good. That's great. And I also want to respect that you said, and I encourage you to go all in.
Yeah, definitely. I have very few clients who want to do that, but
Yeah.
that's a very pitta quality.
Mm-hmm.
To do everything.
Yeah, cool.
Definitely.
So yeah, so if they pick up some of the books that you talked, but you know, like you can sort of get online and sort of get oriented to it to see if an Ayurvedic practitioner, sort of collaborator, would be right for you.
Yeah.
And is there a bunch of Ayurvedic practitioners?
New York, it's growing.
Yeah.
There's quite a few in Boston.
Oh,
like the
interesting.
Boston area.
Huh.
California has a ton of them.
Yeah, big cities.
Yeah. But like, even the smaller ones, every now and then I'll run across someone who went to Kripalu, who lives in a small town. And Canada actually has quite a few too.
Uh-huh. Yeah, Canada's down.
Yeah,
They're
definitely. We have quite a few Canadians in my program.
Oh, neat.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Great. Anything else before we move off of Ayurveda that you think people should know about it?
It's awesome. I mean, that's...
It's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, beautiful. Awesome. Let's just talk, we have about 12 minutes left.
Okay.
Let's just talk a little bit about, you teach queer and trans yoga here,
Yes.
which of course, as you guys know, I'm excited about because I used to teach, I have taught queer and trans yoga. It's one of my favorite things to teach for a variety of different reasons. Can you just tell me a little bit about why you teach it? What, why queer and trans yoga?
Well, the class started with Jacoby.
Okay, cool.
And it was always on the schedule. And
Yeah.
it actually was twice a week.
Oh, cool.
And then over the years, it's fallen into, I've taken over the class. It seems like a no-brainer to me why it's needed.
Yeah, but not to everybody.
No. I'll say this. A friend of mine, or someone I met recently, has a partner who owns a Bikram studio and was approached about having a queer and trans class. And she thought, I've just always thought of this studio as being open to everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone's welcome. This is in Miami, a bigger city with
Yeah.
a lot of people. And I said to her, yeah, but the fact that you even got an email means at least one person feels like I feel better coming to a class where everyone around me shares this same thing. And I told her, I said, I feel like it's needed because there's a lot of people who go to yoga or have been who have been misgendered, had a lot of assumptions about their own gender, their sexuality. I've heard so many people say that's why I don't go to class.
Yeah.
And I myself have even gone to class and just had a lot of assumptions when the teacher's talking and instructing made.
Yeah.
It feels good to walk in a room and not have anyone question my sexuality, my gender. And of course at Third Root there's also classes just for people of color, POC.
Yeah.
Same thing. I think marginalized communities, they know. That's why I'm saying this is a no-brainer.
Yeah.
It's one of these things where I do strongly believe that in North America, a majority of yoga classes are white, straight women. And I've been to a ton of classes where I'm the only woman of color or the only queer person.
Right, and?
So, yeah.
Yeah.
And or the only queer person. And I'm very confident in my practice. I love being on the mat. I can let it go. But people who are not as comfortable in class, not feeling as in their body and confident in their body, not only do you have to deal with that, but then you have to deal with a teacher who constantly calls you by female pronouns and you're a trans man.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. So it's so, I mean, thank you for speaking to all that. It's not easy always to be the only person in a room who looks the way you look, and
No.
it's it just isn't.
No.
And it's like so relieving to be able to be people like gendered or whatever. It just feels a little bit safer, feels a little bit nicer or something.
Yes.
And I've always really appreciated how many people would never go to yoga, unless it was just a queer and trans space. And I'm sure it's the same for folks of color, probably who go to the POC class. I'm sure it's like, that even more intense, maybe just because it's such a white dominant activity still, and getting less so, but for the most part. So it's so you guys have one or two?
We have one class. Sundays.
Great.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And someone who came to class said they looked everywhere, and to the best of my knowledge, this is the only studio teaching queer and trans yoga in New York.
Wow. Huh. I'm surprised about that. What about people of color yoga? Is there more of that?
There's definitely a lot more.
Great.
Brooklyn has a lot of POC-owned studios
Awesome.
and or studios with a lot of I see that a lot more. It's outside of New York when I've taken class where I don't see as many.
It's really exciting. Well, that's not surprising.
No.
A lot of lessons learned here.
Yeah.
It's great that people are practicing together. Communities can practice together.
Definitely.
In safe spaces and accessible spaces like Third Root. I love that there's a commitment around class, and people can come and access services, whatever their sort of economic status is. It's really exciting. All right, cool. So we just have a couple minutes left. What's one thing, in your opinion, as a practitioner, as a teacher, that people aren't talking about enough within health or wellness, or the intersection between justice and healing?
I think the intersection between justice and healing.
Okay.
I feel like, again, when I go to workshops, when I go to trainings, it's overwhelmingly white and straight.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people there seem completely oblivious to the fact that it is overwhelmingly white and straight.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what's most frustrating is how to get people to wake up. I encounter, not here in New York as much, but I definitely see a lot of ignorance and walls going up around yoga being a political practice, or even Ayurveda. I've seen on various social media outlets commenters saying, "Why are you bringing politics into this?" Well, and it's usually white people saying that.
Yeah.
99.9% of the time. And I'm thinking, well, you saying that right there is exactly why we do need to talk about this. I mean, even at Kripalu, situations where white people wearing bindis and stuff like that, where I want to talk about like how that is not right, or at least let me hear what you have to say about it.
Yeah.
I don't know if this answers your question, but I feel like right now my wish is to go to a training, a workshop, and see tons of queer people there, tons of POC, and a political conversation.
Okay. Tons of queer people, tons of people of color, and a political conversation.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's great. So what are a couple of things that people who are putting on the workshops maybe need to do to create that, right? Let's talk about that together.
Have POC teaching.
Okay, so have people of color teaching.
Have queer
people teaching.
Either or, right? They're fine.
Both and.
Yes. I think that's the biggest thing is, I actually had a conversation about this. They'll come if you actually have the teachers teaching it.
Right.
I myself do know straight white people who are definitely on board. I consider them allies. They know it also, and they've spoken up. But I need everybody on board, basically.
Yeah, totally.
For sure.
Yeah, I think another piece is access, like economics, like especially at workshops. A lot of workshops and trainings are not particularly thoughtful around sliding scales.
Yes, definitely.
Right, which often people of color, queer people on the margins often have less access to resources. So totally. Thinking more sort of strategically and thoughtfully about financial access.
I completely agree. I feel like, I charge a little bit more for private consultations, but I always encourage people, go to workshops that are significantly cheaper.
Yeah.
Going back to it, I feel like for me the most important thing is I would love to see more people of color leading Ayurvedic workshops, yoga workshops, any sort of meditation, things like that.
Yes,
is really important.
I know that Jacoby is partnering with a whole bunch of what sounds like pretty amazing people up in Western Mass right now, offering a yoga teacher training.
Yes,
which I think a lot of POCs are maybe involved with. I'm not sure if it's a lot or like I don't really know actually, so I shouldn't say that. But seems like a pretty progressive thing where politics and justice is in the center.
Yeah, and I feel like I definitely want to do another 200-hour training when I have the money.
Yeah.
And I know for sure I want to like relive the experience being surrounded by queer and or POC.
Yeah, it seems like you're a leader in your community. I know that we've just met, but I get that sense from you. And with the march happening yesterday in DC and New York and all over the world, and kind of like all the capacities that you're developing to be able to talk about all this and teach about it in workshop settings, it's like, what's one thing you're excited about for our generations and the folks coming up around the healing arts and having more people of color in leadership and teaching positions? Like what's one aspect of your vision or one thing you're excited about,
I definitely see things changing. I think younger people born around like 2000, which seems like it was just yesterday.
Totally.
Definitely are much more political, much more aware, much smarter around sexuality and gender. I feel like there's 10-year-olds who know how to talk about the differences, that like gender and sexuality are not the same. They're fluid. They're always changing. How they can be. They're using words that I never would have thought of those things. When I was 10, I was watching Full House.
and Full House was not talking about that.
Yeah, no. And also, so they're much more political, and I also am seeing a huge surge in general towards an interest in mindfulness practices. A place I actually ended up teaching a workshop yesterday. I wasn't at the march. I was teaching at a place that when it first opened, you'd see like maybe 3 or 4 people there.
Yeah.
I go there now for various things, and it's packed. And I'm also not the only Black woman on there, like as part of their teaching faculty or who they invite. So
nice.
I think younger people are definitely way more woke than some of these like older. I don't have to explain things to them; they already know.
Yeah, they're like, okay.
Yeah. If you have a workshop and you ask people to present their gender pronoun, they don't ask, what is that?
Yeah.
They've probably been doing it since they were in 2nd grade.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I find that I'm part of that bridge generation. That's like one foot in, the older generation, one foot in the younger. Yeah. So it's interesting. I'm sure you got some of that too, though.
Definitely. I'm 35.
Okay.
I feel like I'm noticing things.
Yeah.
I'm kind of surveying.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's around people around 2000, maybe even 2005.
Yeah.
I know that there's huge differences.
Yeah, it's exciting.
It's great.
It's called evolution, I think.
I hope so.
Yeah, we'll see. Totally progress. So we got to wrap up because we got class in 15 minutes. Thank you so much for taking the time. It's so awesome to meet you and to be here at Third Root. And how do people get in touch with you?
I'm on Instagram, Wolf Medicine Magic, and I kind of dabble in Facebook, but Instagram is the best way.
Okay,
to
great.
Find me.
Wolf Medicine Magic on Instagram. That's fantastic. You got a cool website too.
Yes, wolfmedicinemagic.com.
Yeah, awesome. Based in Brooklyn.
Yes, yeah.
Workshops, consults.
Yeah, private yoga, private Ayurveda. I teach yoga, And I teach a lot of Ayurvedic workshops in the Brooklyn area.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Workshops are so great.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else you want to tell everybody?
Love is the answer. Everyone spread it. More compassion, more mindfulness, meditate, and empathy in 2017.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you
you.
so much. Thanks, you guys. We'll see you soon. Happy
Bye.
Hive Live. See you tomorrow.